2 seconds. Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good. We're point three. UConn goes in front.
Hey. Safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up shit since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me keep the heat even when I'm in foreigns. I'm heartless, cause these niggas is hating on me just because I'm the biggest, the largest, the biggest, the largest. 30K on my riches for hard times. These niggas just mad cause they bitching my archives. Jordan came back, throw the 4-5. If you play, then you lay right there by your own kind. Hold up a 4 with a loco. Tell them run this bitch back like so-so. Got this rap shit here in the chokehold. Did a show out in Austin. Shout out to Bobo. Moved out the trenches, now look how we live. Tell my BM to furnish the crib. Walk out the mall with some shoes for the kids. Deposit the checks from my bank full of M's. Paid up my rent, now I'm up for the year. The view look crazy from here. What I paid for some dogs could've bought me veneers. Texas piece on my neck could've bought your career. Safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up shit since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me keep the heat even when I'm in foreigns. I'm heartless, cause these niggas is hating on me just because I'm the biggest, the largest, the biggest.
Hey, Bran, did you hear Duke is going to the Final Four?
No.
April Fools.
I like that one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Brand Coverage. I'm Brandon Carney alongside Pat Gustafson. And
guys, I just want to make this clear.
Yeah.
This is a fantasy football podcast.
Right.
We will not be talking about UConn winning at all whatsoever.
No.
April Fools! Yeah!
I think I've watched this shot 7,000 times since it happened. I've also watched Dan Hurley headbutt that ref, I think, even more times. Yeah, listen, that entire weekend, wow. Just
Unbelievable.
It's not often that a moment happens in sports that just immediately has an argument for being the greatest sports moment of my life. And it's not number one. But it's certainly top 5.
Yeah, when your team has won, like, your football team has won, like, 8 Super Bowls in your lifetime.
See, what's funny is it's not even the Super Bowls. Like, the Malcolm Butler interception Super Bowl is number 2 for me personally. I made this list because one of our friends asked. And so that one's number 2. Number 1 for me is just going to the title game in 2023 because of after all that I witnessed while in college and how bad it was, and to be able to be there. You're surrounded by all these UConn legends. That is my number 1 sports moment for sure. But this one certainly cracks the top 3. And in terms of a single play, like, you know, if it were for a championship, I think it beats the Malcolm Butler pick.
Oh, sure.
It's still close, even though it's just in the Final Four. Just the circumstances of it and the team on the other side of the fucking court being Duke. Oh my God, how sweet that is.
It's really funny because, like, John Shire is, like, a million times more likable than Coach K. Mm-hmm. Like, it's hard to hate Duke.
Don't love him, but he's better.
It's hard to hate Duke as much as you used to because they always had Coach K, who is just the most self-absorbed, self-righteous guy you can imagine. And they had players that you really hated.
Yeah.
JJ, going way back to JJ Redick, before our time, Christian Laettner, Grayson Allen. You know, they always seem to have some pesky white guy that you just hated. This team was just fine, you know, like, but the fact that it's Duke, the fact that they're fans, that goddamn radio call where the first thing they did was go, Malachi Smith wasn't on the fly, that's a technical. First of all, the officials blew the whistle immediately. Do you know what happens, Duke fans, when you blow the whistle? It's a dead ball. Even if someone ran off the bench onto the court, it was a dead ball.
Yeah.
Nobody gets teed up. And second of all, Malachi Smith was one of the 5 UConn players on the floor. But it was just so funny that the first thing those fucking losers did was cry for the officials to do something about it. Like, the first thing they did was cry foul there. And I said to my dad afterwards, you know, I said, I figured they were either going to lose or pull ahead and win.
Right.
I was not expecting a miracle-esque play to do it. I was expecting them to either pull ahead, win by a few points, or I lost my train of thought, or or them just straight up losing.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that outcome to the game. And like I said, my dad was very concerned with how quickly, I'm still only about 3 weeks removed from back surgery, almost at 4, and how I just sprang up like a fucking jack in the box when he made that shot. My voice hit decibels. I know I can hit that pitch now anyway. After, like I said, the big story used to be the Jalen Adams one.
Yeah.
Against Cincinnati was when that was the highest my voice has ever gotten. So I knew this could exist, but what in the world was Duke doing?
I mean, yeah, you could go through until the cows come home all the mistakes that Duke made on that play. I mean, just as a fan, like, we've obviously been incredibly spoiled as UConn basketball fans.
Oh my God.
But like, also throughout all that spoiling, there hasn't really been a one singular moment like that. Like, you go through March Madness and teams have these crazy moments seemingly every year. And like UConn, not that we're saying, we're missing out by not having that. We'll take the titles and we'll take all the sustained success, but like, we haven't really had a moment like that. So for it to happen, it just was unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys watching probably saw the video I posted on Twitter and Instagram and whatever.
Saw that, like, not.
Oh,
just
really?
like, she just saw it she didn't know where, but she saw it.
That was
she's also friends with Dave's mother-in-law. So,
oh, okay. Yeah, so that was Lexi just happened to she was anticipating something potentially, pulled her phone out for that, which props to her for that too, because to take your phone out and record that moment, like, that
could have been a heartbreak.
Well, not even heartbreak. That play was just supposed to be us fouling Duke. Like, that was what was supposed to happen there. And so you would think that if you're going to record anything, maybe record after they miss a free throw or something and we have a chance to win. But no, presence of mind, whip that phone out, get us fucking losing our minds to the highest degree.
Dude.
One of the greatest moments in UConn basketball history, one of the greatest moments in my sports life. And
especially in our time, the big UConn plays were in the like Cardiac Kemba, Big East tournament,
sure.
The Jalen Adams shot, the American semifinals, for God's sake.
It doesn't happen in the NCAA.
It was Rip Hamilton back in '99 who had the biggest UConn shot where, you were 3 and I was 2. So don't quite remember that one. So just unbelievable. Duke, they literally could have taken a 10-second violation in the game.
They could have done anything else.
They literally if Boozer literally just needed to toss the ball up in the air.
Yep.
Or hold the ball and either get fouled or do nothing. And they win. Like, literally anything except that.
Yeah.
But shout out. Well, first of all, the first guy that got the ball in was kind of fumbling it a little bit. So that's sort of what started. And I think that might have been why UConn necessarily didn't foul right away. Was that they knew, hey, we got him a little bit. And the presence of mind for Silas Demery, Braylon Mullins was all over it. And then, again, the presence of mind, you get the ball to the guy that you want to shoot the ball in, Alex Karaban, even though he had for all intents and purposes, a horrendous game.
Yep.
But he had the presence of mind as a 20th year senior to know that there was a better shot in the ball sack on 19-year-old Braylon Mullins to pull up from the logo to win. Just unbelievable. And all I've heard everyone talk about is how, like, I don't see this kid as an NBA player, yada, yada, yada. And, like, I could see him using another year. But the way I see it is, if you're going to get drafted in the lottery, go. Get that bag.
I could see that.
Go get your bag. Go get a contract.
Yeah, I've flipped on Mullins a little bit because before I was with you, I was like, there's no shot he comes back. Absolutely none. And then going throughout this year, not just seeing some of the freshman mistakes he's made, but also we've talked about how loaded this draft class is with just it's freshmen literally the entire top 10.
This is the biggest college draft in a lot. We've talked about how some of the last drafts have been so international. I believe there's only one international kid,
and so
a French kid going in the lottery right now.
So part of me is like, if he comes back, maybe irons out some of these issues, and also just isn't competing with such a ridiculous fellow freshman class next year. He would probably have an argument to go top 5 in the draft. I mean, you go back to
he could also lose it.
Yeah, but I feel like the talent there, I know what you're saying because we've seen this happen with guys in the past, like your, Daniel Hamilton's, for example, in UConn history, where it's like at one point projected to go clearly first round, you stick around a little too long, you show teams you don't quite have the juice, and you end up falling really far in the draft, not having much of an NBA career. I don't see that with Mullins because I think the talent level is too high. I feel like if he's already projected to go lottery right now, what's he going to do? Come and shoot 20% next year? Like, I doubt that. Like,
I mean, I just think the fact that he is still going lottery, but
I get it.
I see him, like, people have compared him to Liam McNeely and Jordan Hawkins. He plays defense.
Yeah,
like
at least he's has effort.
He's athletic. He puts on the effort on ball or off the ball. He's putting in the effort. He's not afraid to go and block a shot. He's not afraid to go to the rim. His floater game has been on point, and then he could potentially shoot the lights out. Yeah. So it's like I still see the tools are there, and in a day and age where the NBA is so built on,
I was gonna play. You keep talking.
Oh, when it's so built on tools, intangibles, and potential, Braylon Mullins has got all of that. And I mean, again, this just shows that the kid also has a fucking ball sack the size of a skyscraper.
Yes, correct.
Because of that. And then, did you see Mrs. Hurley?
Yeah.
Holy fucking
shit. Yeah.
Now, we know where Danny and Bobby get it from. The apple don't fall too far from the tree. But just an unbelievable moment. What the hell was Hurley doing with Roger Ayers after that?
I've seen so many explanations for this. And by the way, for anybody watching, yes, this is a UConn glaze session. We are going to get into NFL news and notes from the owners meeting a little bit.
That didn't mean to happen.
Pat just squirts lotion all over himself. We're going to get into plenty of NFL news. I'm good. Okay. News and notes from the owners meeting because we do have some stuff to talk about. But you got to kind of let us have our cake and eat it here a little bit with the Huskies. This is what you get when you get two UConn fans as a podcast host. So we're gonna glaze. We're gonna glaze for a while. If you're watching this after the fact. If you're watching this after the fact, feel free to scroll past this part, but or don't, because UConn is the best school ever, and you should listen to us talk about them. The ref thing was odd. It's lotion. Just rub it on your leg or something.
Don't tell me what to do.
Watching that play out was like, I understand people's outrage at first because it does look like he's trying to intimidate a ref essentially in that moment.
He didn't even say anything.
And say but it's like the motion of fuck you, we showed you up kind of thing. And then to find out after, and I believe Hurley because he's had these issues with other refs before, where he's like, no, me and that guy, we have no issues.
It was James Breeden.
It was a heat of the moment that him saying, I thought he was coming up to chest bump me is really funny because the optics, if that were the case, are awful for the ref. You cannot chest bump a head coach after his team hits a buzzer beater. But I heard him say Hurley saying it didn't matter who came up to me in that moment. It was just such an intense moment. I'm gonna be kind of a you can't fuck with me mode. And I think that's what was happening there. So look, props to the ref for not taking that as anything other than what it was, because
any good official would not want to be that guy.
Yeah,
in that situation. But there are a lot of bad officials.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely more of a line you'd have to cross to give Duke technical free throws or something. Yeah, I mean, of course, you make contact. If he does something closer to what he did against Marquette,
he's gone.
Yeah, I think you probably get some free throws, and that ends up going a different way. But
it was just really funny when Seth Greenberg on SportsCenter was like, "Yeah, I reached out to Roger Ayers. He had no clue what I was even talking about." And he said, he came up to me to say something, didn't say anything, and then I said something back,
and Roger just said,
that was it.
Hurley said that Roger just told him that there was 0.3 left. That was what he was saying to him in that moment.
And now everybody's all saying how Roger Ayers is not one of the 11 officials doing the Final Four.
Yeah.
Which they're like, this must be because they didn't tee him up and he should have teed him up and they're punishing him for this. And it's just brother, save it.
Yeah.
Save it. The fact that you want a game to end on technical free throws to bail out Duke. And did you hear Coach K didn't sleep that night? I wish I had batteries in the violin.
Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad. All right. Well,
but I mean, I will say, John Shire has done an unbelievable job there. His first year wasn't very good, and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's not built for the job." Yada 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 yada. And now, because he recruits, he's separated himself from Coach K, but still has that Duke moniker to recruit people. He's always going to be able to.
he's a different type of
could
coach.
be there forever and win a lot of games. I got some on my pants.
Let's see him win one first. I still see this with teams like this, and it's why I don't ever pick these freshman-laden teams to go and win a national title, because it seems like it shows up every single time. The lack of experience ends up rearing its ugly head at the worst time, and I think we saw that in that one singular play.
What, with the freshman
with
passing the ball like that? And is Isaiah Evans a freshman?
I think so.
Bro was looking at the jump
Not
up
sure.
front.
Yeah, but either way, Caden Boozer being the one to turn it over in that moment is brutal.
I feel for him. I mean, like,
and it's
you never want to, unless it's a really unlikable guy, which Caden Boozer is just guilty of being ugly, being uglier than his twin,
being talked about too much. And it's like, obviously, it's not only freshmen that are capable of making that mistake. The one that brought back the memory that got brought back for everybody was Virginia Furman, Kihei Clark. Kihei Clark was literally a senior who had exhausted his eligibility and made a similar decision. However, Kihei Clark was also trapped in the corner in that moment. Boozer, like everybody has pointed out, could have just held the ball,
could have done
done anything.
And he would have gotten fouled.
So, just to me, like, we're trying to project ahead any potential success for Duke in the future. Like, we've seen it in the past, right? Like, freshman teams can win a title, but it doesn't happen often. Like, the last time we saw it was 2012. Kentucky was the most like freshman-led team to win a title.
Cal really knew what he was doing back then, too. I mean, still does, but.
I mean, when you get this far into the tournament, I just think experience is everything, and that showed up with UConn. Obviously, it's funny that the freshman is the one that hit the shot at the end, but it's the experience of a guy like Terrace Reed just dominating the entire game. Caravan making, a clutch shot at the end of the game and making a clutch decision to give the ball to Mullins rather than force it up himself, knowing that his career is on the line, and he gives the ball away to a freshman. Like, it matters.
Huge threes from Silas Demery.
Yes,
and
massive.
He had the steal and he had the turnover as well, and the massive one from Solo Ball, who didn't have one of his worst games, but still has not been very on. But he had been better than he was. But again, shout out a couple other guys. Malachi Smith and Jaden Ross have been phenomenal.
Yep.
On this run to the Final Four. Just especially Smith filling in for Demery when he was hurt. He stepped in easily as the floor general, and Jaden Ross has just been an absolute lunatic on defense. He is everywhere at every time, and that's the kind of guys you need. And I mean, they even got some decent minutes from Eric Ryba when Reed was off the court, so they've really been getting contributions from everyone except from the likes of Caravan and Solo Ball in the last couple of games.
Solo played a little better down the stretch.
Solo played a better game, and like I said, when he was going 1-on-1 against Boozer, the good Boozer, like down there, like, don't slow down, don't do it, don't do it, and he went and did it, and I remember I just went, and one, motherfucker.
The and one was a huge turning
That's what I mean.
point
Again, for him to have the confidence in himself to go and take on potentially the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and to do that was just so awesome. I mean, do we want to talk now about the final? Yeah, let's talk about the Final Four first here. So, UConn now also has the benefit of not running into Michigan or Arizona yet.
As everybody is saying, the real national championship is happening on the other side of the bracket. Fucking spare me. Continue.
I mean, that might end up being the game of the tournament because
it's going to be a fantastic game.
Not saying UConn goes in there and easily wins the game.
Of course.
Illinois. The problem we saw Duke get really hot offensively in that first half. Illinois is an offense very similar of doing that. When they get hot from 3, Keaton Wagler, Peja Stojakovic's kid who makes a 3 like once a year. But when he does, he makes like 10. They've got a really good offense. So it's like, does UConn's more so just pure fight, and Terrace Reed maybe can take that game over? I mean, I think the ideal scenario for UConn right now would be to win and get a rematch against Arizona.
I would agree.
I'm way more scared of Michigan right now than Arizona. UConn, lost by 2 or 3 to Arizona?
Yeah. Without
Terrace Reed. And we just saw just how good Terrace Reed has been and how he can take over a game. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to be biased here and I'm going to say UConn's going to win the national championship. Do I genuinely believe that? I don't know. Taking bias out of it, I think they beat Illinois. Just from a basketball standpoint, I think they're a better team than Illinois, and I think they beat Illinois.
They beat Illinois this year.
Though Illinois is a very good team and also obviously hot at the right time. Michigan's just so good, and they're so good everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is I just fear that they match up against a team like Michigan, and if they go cold on offense, it's just, that could really spell the end of it. So, ideally, bias, UConn beats Arizona in the championship. My head is telling me that Michigan beats UConn in the national championship.
I agree with you, and I think it helps the karmic energy to continue to pick against UConn in some degree. Last week, you had said that you thought UConn's road was going to end against Michigan State, and I said I thought they were going to beat Michigan State, but that their road was going to end against Duke. And I am glad that we are both wrong. And so, I'm with you. Like, look, I picked Michigan to win it all at the start of the tournament.
I picked Arizona.
They are my only team alive in the Final Four, as I assume yours as well. I
have Michigan and Arizona left. So
okay, hey, that's pretty good.
So I've only got potential, on that side.
But. I'm notorious for doing horrible in my bracket, but picking the champion correct basically every year. So I'm hoping that's not the case this year. But yeah, I think logically, Michigan over UConn in the title is fair. But, I'm hoping the more that we say that, the more that shifts the energy toward UConn and them being doubted. So let's go with that.
Well, that was the thing. Like, I thought they were losing to Michigan State, and then when they beat them, I'm like, they're beating Duke. I'm like,
I think a lot of people felt that way. I mean, you're watching UConn play, and it's like based on the early non-conference schedule, we knew that UConn at their best was a tier 1 team in the country. We watched them only lose to Arizona by a couple points without their best player. We watched them.
They won at Fog Allen. Nobody wins at Fog Allen except Kansas.
That non-conference schedule says everything. It's just they were not playing their best down the stretch of the season. Solo Ball couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Neither could Braylon Mullins. It was really only Reed playing consistently well. And then on top of that, Demery got hurt.
Well, and Demery gets hurt. And the thing is, like, when Demery's on, Demery is more of a not in the box score contribute. He passes the ball a ton. He can score, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times when he has good games, it's not necessarily him putting up 12, 15 points.
Yeah, UConn beat Illinois earlier this year, 74-61. Keaton Wagler, 3 points on 1 of 3 shooting.
Yeah, that was sort of before he really came out of the woodwork, though.
Yeah, and as for UConn, Terrace Reed, foul trouble in this game. 2 points, 0 for 3 from the field. So, you expect this game to look a little different than that one did. But yeah, I think it's fair to say UConn gets by Illinois, meets with Michigan, I think, in the national title game. And we see it every year as well, that like coaching is what really takes the forefront this time of year. And I think Dusty May being kind of that up and coming, I think Dusty May might be the second best coach in the sport behind Dan Hurley.
It's at the point where, even though obviously North Carolina is North Carolina, Dusty May has no reason to leave.
No.
He can. That's the thing. Like, same thing with Dan Hurley. It's like, they have proven that they can get it done on the level of North Carolina elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's like, sure, maybe you get paid a little more money or have more NIL funding, but it's like they're getting it done anyway.
Yeah.
It's like Dan Hurley, I truly believe the only way he is leaving UConn is if it is for the Knicks or the Nets. Yeah. I do not believe he will ever take another college job.
No, I mean, I don't think UConn will let him leave. Like, they'll just keep throwing money at him.
That's forever. What I mean. I think the only way he would leave is if he wants to take a crack at the NBA, which I believe would only be in the New York teams.
Yeah.
So, but just what an like I said, I was sleeping at night. Instead of counting sheep, I kept seeing the shot in my head. Like this. Yeah, I was just literally...
We're on the low, 35 feet up. Wake up in a fucking cold sweat, but like a good cold sweat. Yeah, incredible shot. Will go down in UConn history forever. Will go down in March Madness history forever. We'll be seeing this shot when we're 80.
My goodness.
We will be seeing this shot in highlight reels when we are 80 years old. That is how incredible it was.
Well, I was gonna say one more thing about Also, shout out Luke Murray.
Oh yeah, congrats to Luke Murray. 1 minute.
He will be missed very much. There has not been a ton of talk about Kimani Young potentially getting a job. There are jobs out there. Obviously, I would love for him to stay. But him and Luke Murray have been so valuable from recruiting, from on-the-court stuff, that, Hurley's not doing it without these guys. But Luke Murray's going to go get a shot to coach in the ACC. To go from an assistant to the ACC is quite a jump.
Yeah.
Bill, still come to our games, though.
I mean, I don't imagine Bill is going to be overly entertained by Boston College basketball.
They
at least
lose
not
to
in
Central.
at least not in the early years. I do have faith in Luke Murray to turn that program around a little bit, and I'm excited to follow them.
Well, I'm trying to think, like, there were no obvious transfers on this team this year. Like, even, like, some of the kids that, like, didn't play, like, Melender's gone. He's a grad transfer.
Yeah. I don't think
Euros Panovich, or however you say that, gonna, like, there's no obvious person that you'd think is gonna follow Luke Murray to Boston College. Even, like, maybe Johnny Furphy, but not Johnny Furphy, Jacob Furphy. Johnny Furphy's on the Pacers. Jacob Furphy, he's gonna play next year. So it's like maybe he could leave, but there's a very good chance he winds up in the rotation.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe
the only one I've seen rumored to be going with Luke Murray is a fellow coach. It's Mamadou Diarra to be an assistant coach.
Yes.
Who's going to
also
coach their bigs.
Shout out Mamadou has been there. That was a guy whose career got taken away.
Yep.
They bring in his brother.
While I was there.
Yeah, they bring in his brother who was a pivotal part of those
Shout
national championships and has still stayed on as a coach, Mamadou. But yeah. No, I mean, I think Mamadou would be a great coach. But yeah, again, just love seeing him there. Maybe we'll draft. No, we won't. But
yeah, I see people asking what jersey I'm wearing. This is just a generic #1 UConn jersey bought during the Christian Vital.
No, you got to move.
Okay,
you weren't in camera. Throwback.
No name.
Yeah.
No name.
Before the NIL.
Yeah, but I mean, now it functions as a solo ball jersey just without the name. But for anybody wondering, that's what it is.
UConn shot lost me a $1,400 parlay payout.
Let me see if I can get this on the screen. This will be a good test.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Damn. I could put this user in timeout. I could do that.
You could mod him as well.
I could mod him. There's a lot of options here. No, I can't. Okay. Oh, no, I got out of the studio. Sorry, guys. Trying to figure out how to get these donation messages on the screen for the end of the show.
We're still here.
Still not working.
But if I had the violin, I'd be playing that for you right now, low key.
But yeah, look, UConn, the best, the greatest of all time.
Even if they lose, they made the Final Four. Here's the thing: is in our lifetime, they've only holy fuck. Whenever they make the Final Four, they've only not won the championship once.
Yeah.
And it's never been in the finals. Every time they've made the finals since 2004, not since 99, excuse me, they've won. So, I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, all right. I mean, but right before we get into the NFL stuff, we are going to do a little segment here, just to entertain ourselves and also give you guys listening and watching who aren't as familiar with the lore and the history of UConn a little lesson here. So, just sit back, relax. What Pat and I are going to do to celebrate what UConn has done in this tournament, we are going to draft all-time starting fives UConn alumni. So, go back and forth. See who can create the best team, best starting five of UConn alums in history. It is a stacked group of names. I think if you were to just make a singular starting five, it's a pretty good consensus for the most part of who would be on it. At least there's some non-negotiables, I would say. But to split it between the two of us, I'm excited to see who comes up with the better squad here.
We could take it whichever way we'd like. Honestly, most of the UConn men are the women eligible. You know, if the women win the championship, we'll do that next week.
We could totally do that.
We'll do that next week.
They're even more loaded. Brianna
Stewart.
Stewart 101, thank you. But there's plenty of good options.
What?
Plenty of good options.
But
I'm taking her because I watched her while I was in school, and she won 4 straight rings.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
You know.
But we'll do that next week. But this is strictly the UConn men for today. Most of these UConn guys were really good at UConn. Like, there's really only one guy that I mentioned before the show that's had a really prolific NBA career that was a one and done at UConn. Don't necessarily know, but I'm personally taking UConn more into account to the point where I may take a historic bust over this guy who's been in the NBA for 12 years.
It's definitely less of an NBA thing. I think, it matters. So at UConn's arena at Gamble Pavilion, they have the Huskies of Honor, and they also have numbers that have been retired. I've noticed the theme of that, like, the Huskies of Honor is basically guys that did incredible contributions at UConn. Huskies of Honor, you really have to have some sort of decent NBA contribution. I don't know. It seems like that might be the line there. But either way, you can balance it however you want. I am definitely going to go heavier on the what they did at UConn side as well.
We're going to go heavy on sports, yeah.
Those fuckers. They started posting on Instagram again, and I was very thrown off because I was still following them, and they hadn't posted in like 2 years. And I went to their page, and it was like, here's something from the Super Bowl, and then the video before that was of me 2 years ago. And I'm like, you motherfucker, 3 years ago.
I worked for them for about 60 days. So.
Hey, you got a little paycheck.
Yeah, I did get a paycheck. Yeah.
Okay.
Put on my resume.
101 for the UConn starting five.
Do we know whose turn it is, or we just, you know what? You're an alum. Take it.
Fair enough. To me, there's a clear 101.
I think there's a correct answer.
I think there's a correct answer here, and people may disagree. I don't think it's like so unanimous that it's obvious, but in terms of UConn contributions, aura, and moderate NBA success, it's going to be Kemba Walker.
I think moderate NBA success is an understatement.
Well, compared
for a guy at his size with his expectation,
sure. Compared to guys like Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton,
Spoilers!
Yeah, if you Google UConn alum, I mean, you'll find those guys. But I'm going to go with Kemba Walker. I just think the 5 games in 5 days, the national championships, and
the cardiac Kemba.
Just there is nobody that you wanted with the ball in their hand in a moment that mattered more than Kemba Walker. And so he is going to be the guy I take. It was Pat and I talked about this segment before we went live about like if there was any kind of strategy to this segment, because yes, it's for fun, but we want to win too. And I was like, what position do you prioritize? Because there's some positions where it's like there's multiple guys that are very much on the same tier. And I think while there are other incredible point guards in UConn history, this is the fucking guy. So I'm going with Kemba Walker. He's going to be my captain here.
Now, similarly to you, I really feel like there's one position that has really one clear-cut player at a certain position. UConn legend, the best NBA player on this list. I believe the only guy on this list that is in the Hall of Fame. At my shooting guard, give me Ray Allen.
Yeah. I think smart of you to not allow me to have a backfield
big loads
backcourt of Kemba Walker and Ray Allen, because I think that is kind of the meta of
a lot of these players were either more so like point guards. There's really like, when I thought of the shooting guards, he did research, I didn't. I'm going off
only a little bit. I mean, most of it I knew, but I just didn't want to forget
one
anybody.
shooting guard, like pure shooting guard, that's in my head to pick.
Yeah, I think I know who you're thinking of. Okay. So you're going there. I am going to go to – I'm just going to, I guess, abandon what my pre-strategy was, which was to not target the positions that I think there are multiple good guys of. But after thinking about it, you can't let this guy fall past the 3rd pick. He is the only national player of the year in UConn basketball history, and it's Emeka Okafor.
Good pick.
There's another incredible center in UConn's recent history that I think if you take, you will be very happy with. But Emeka Okafor, the full body of work, I believe he got his number retired this year. So I guess maybe NBA success isn't that important because he wasn't that good in the NBA.
How recent are you talking?
As far as center overall impact, the last couple of years.
Are we talking about Klingon?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not who's next on.
If you're actually putting together a team of like who you'd want on the court, I don't know of a player that's had as big of an impact as Klingon outside of Okafor at center.
I can think of one.
Okay.
I think I'm
okay.
Hey, but now that you have a center, though, I'm not. And apparently he's not on your radar. I'm not going to.
I'll fucking run Klingon Okafor. You think I won't?
Oh, but I'm not looking at Klingon though.
Okay.
I mean, Klingon can shoot a little bit. Space it. This is tough here because there's the smart pick and the personal pick. I'm going to go with the smart pick, probably with the second biggest shot besides Braylon Mullins. Another guy who had a great NBA career. At my 3, give me Rip Hamilton.
Yeah. Yeah, Pat's going with the most notable NBA names for sure.
But I mean, again, Rip Hamilton was huge.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a good pick.
That shot in '99 against Duke, right? I believe. Yeah, they, besides Tate George, except Rip Hamilton did not run a Ponzi scheme, as far as I know. So, and the chat asked, did you see the UConn fan who tore his Achilles? That's crazy. that is crazy. Awesome. All right, so right now, Bran, you have your point guard and center, so you're looking for more for wings here.
Yeah, and it's funny because with the college game, I mean, look, the NBA is becoming a positionless game as well, but I feel like in college, you can really get away with a lot of different things. Like there are teams that'll run lineups of three guys who are like 6'2" or shorter, and they'll be just fine with it. So there's a few ways I'm looking here. I will tell you, a backcourt of Kemba Walker and Tristan Newton.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were taking.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Woo!
I know who you're thinking as well. I'm
So
going to take Tristan. I want to show some respect
Yeah.
to back-to-back national champion Tristan Newton. Yes, I know you're thinking of Shabazz Napier, and that's totally fine. I love me some Shabazz, but Tristan Newton, I'll give some love to the more recent Huskies. You talk about, and I mean, Shabazz fits this too, but you talk about the level of just clutch and being able to take over a game that you have between Newton and Walker, and in like a Hurley system where there's no selfishness going on. Not that there was with Kemba under Calhoun either, but like it's just whoever finds the best shot. You're talking about two guys that can score at literally every level. I just want to see that. So I'm taking Tristan Newton.
You know, that's fair. I didn't think you were going there. Again, one of the best transfers ever. You know,
Yeah.
to
I mean,
transfer
East
in
Carolina, and this dude's just a freak. Like, how does that
happen?
happen?
I remember they were playing Tristan Newton as a freshman, and that was back when I used to write gambling previews for American athletic games. I'm like, this Tristan Newton kid is a freshman. He fills up the stats. He starts every game.
Yep.
So when they got him, I'm like, I know this kid. And man, oh man. And just in case you decide to make the smallest backcourt in history or snipe your sixth man before me, I will take Shabazz Napier.
Okay.
Was there in 09, didn't do too much, you know, is the guy in the 2013 championship, one of the more improbable championship runs under, assuming honorable mention for this draft, Kevin Ollie. But yeah, Shabazz, see, that's the thing I was wondering, because to me it ranked at point guards Kemba, Shabazz, Newton.
Yeah, I think
so.
that's
I
fair.
think that's fair. But so we'll get all three of them in starting lineups. So all right, back to Bran. You need a small forward, power forward, or a six man.
Yeah.
I made it so we're picking a six man because I want to talk about two more people.
I will go with a more traditionally sized man for my forward slot, and I will go with former Big East Player of the Year, Caron Butler.
Good pick. And another guy, MLB, NBA All-Star.
MLB All-Star, NFL Pro Bowler. People may not know that. Also made the PGA Tour at one point. People are unaware of that. He's really a do-it-all kind of forward.
No, but, you know, again, just a really good player.
Yeah.
A really good player. Was he there for any of the...
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but again...
No, he was only there from 2000 to 2002, so came right after the 99.
I don't know if my guy was a Big East Player of the Year. I know my guy here was a oh, well, this guy was a first-team All-American and a Big East Player of the Year and a two-time All-Big East. The only person on this list who I have had the pleasure of knowing personally, and I thank Bran for letting me have him, my close and personal friend, former Central Connecticut head coach Danielle Marshall, who it's so cool now because now that he's not coaching at UConn, at Central or in the G League, he's just tweeting about UConn now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I forget that guy is like one of the best players in UConn history and not just a guy who drove Central Connecticut's program into the ground. Sorry. But again, cool guy, and it will never be lost on me that I had the pleasure to interview one of the greatest UConn players, obviously out of our lifetime a little bit. But I remember my dad as a kid who used to quiz me on all the UConn players in the NBA, and there were three that I didn't know. Or four, Donnie Marshall as well, that I didn't know, you know, beyond my time. And Danielle Marshall was always on that list, and I told him that story. So shout out, Danielle. I know you're not listening, but shout out.
I like that. I'm not going to go with Klingon Okafor center power forward because I think it would be a little clogged. You know, as much as I mean,
call me the toilet the way I'm about to be clogged.
I mean, I don't know how an offense even attacks those two guys if they're on the court.
They're both just standing in the paint together, holding hands.
I'm not sure anybody ever scores a point, but just logistically, I don't think I can do that. So I'm going to go with a guy that I just think fits this lineup really well and is also an all-time great and is still active.
Yep.
And it's Alex Karaban.
Yep.
The fit makes too much sense. He is going to go down as, I think, the winningest Husky of all time. I think he already is the winningest Husky of all time.
He's at least the most games played Huskies.
Yeah, I think he's the most games won. He might be slightly behind. No, I think he is, though. Either way, the way he plays, the unselfishness, the leadership, the all-around sort of play style, I just think fits this team perfectly. And also, you've got 3 guys that can just snipe from any spot on the court, combined with the utter force that is Emeka Okafor down low. So I'll go with Captain America, Alex Caravan.
Yeah. Part of me wants to take my 6th man right now and save my center. Because, if you take a 6th man, I'll just take whoever you don't take. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with my first UConn hero. Back in 2004, this guy's had some ups and downs in his life, hoping the best for him always. Shout out from the United Kingdom, Ben Gordon is going to be my 6th man.
Almost took him as a starter. Almost.
Well, that's
he was
who
almost my shooting guard.
Well, it was Allen and Gordon were really the only 2 surefire shooting guards that I can think of there. So Ben Gordon, welcome to the squad, pal.
I like it. All right, my 6th man of the year. 6th man of the year. 6th man. Yeah, I guess he would be the 6th man of the year. There are guys I want to shout out, and there's guys that I would love to give some shine here.
I'm going to give a list of shout-outs.
Well, okay, so I'll tell you the guys who I would, in other circumstances, be considering here. You've got Cam Spencer, I think, one of the best one-year players ever in UConn history. If that dude spent 4 years at UConn, there would be a statue of him outside the fucking arena because he just did everything. The competitive fire, he was like a baby Hurley just in player form. He did everything you want a college player to do. It was like we took a prime Duke asshole and put him on UConn. That's exactly
and we got him from Rutgers of all places.
Rutgers and what before that?
It was Loyola.
It was Loyola, yeah.
Maryland.
So
before,
he is just a monster. And the other one that I just want to make sure I shout out is Andre Jackson because Andre Jackson.
Oh wow, yeah.
Defensively, just you can put him on anybody and he is going to pretty much lock them down.
Bro is still
make
collecting
a
paycheck.
He is. He's still on the Bucks. He's still hanging out. He was like a less NBA appropriate version of Stephon Castle in terms of the defensive side of the ball. Like defensively, it was just assign him to the other team's best player, and because of the size he could really guard anything 1 through 4.
Dare I say it? I think he's 6'7". I got to put the foot in between because he's a big.
So,
wing.
but it was like you could trust him to guard. Like it was like, okay, who's the other team's best scorer? Is it their point guard? Is it their power forward? It doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
He can guard them as long as it's not their center. Realistically,
now. He's not the worst Husky in the NBA right now, by the way. Well, Liam McNeely's in the G League, but I'm going to say I'd also rather have Andre Jackson on my team right now than Jordan Hawkins.
I'm so
with
sad
how
about,
terrible.
I'm sad about Hawkins.
Hawkins has reached the point now where it's not the Pelicans anymore. It's him. He's shooting about 20% from 3.
That's bad.
So, unfortunately, when you're a 3-point shooter and cannot shoot threes, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah. So I have a center left, so I got to give a bunch of shout-outs. Rest in peace, Stanley Robinson. Great player.
Great call.
I'm going to go way back. Not way back, but like to 04. Josh Boone, Hilton Armstrong, Jeff Adrian, Kevin Ollie, Jake Voskuhl, who was the most played. He's a center. I could take Jake Voskuhl if I'd like to. And also
shout out Ryan Boatwright as well.
Duh.
Shout out
Ryan Boatwright.
Row.
Jordan Hawkins as well. Stephon Castle, worthy of mentions here.
I still got to make my pick, by the way.
You didn't pick yet?
Man pick.
Jesus Christ. Who did you pick? Oh, my God.
My 6-man pick is Donovan Clingan. You bring that guy off the bench.
Oh, good, because I wasn't going to pick him. I know,
but I'm going to take him because
so I'm glad you
that UConn 2023 title team that was bringing him off the fucking bench, diabolical. So I'm going with Donovan Clingan.
Shout out to Dama Sanogo as well, another guy.
Almost drafted him as my starter over
there
Caravan.
are so many guys.
UConn's just the best.
That spacing with Okafor and Sanogo. That spacing with Sanogo and Okafor would have been. You would have been elbows to elbows in there.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it.
So my center here, I kind of teased it earlier. One of the biggest draft busts in NBA history.
Oh.
Give me Hasheem Thabeet.
Sure.
I don't care how that man was
large.
Menace. That was back when no matter who was playing down low was just blocking the shit out of everybody. Everybody. So, bust aside, I can't look past it, and I met him. Nice guy.
Love it. All right. UConn starting 5 draft plus a 6-man. I am rolling out Kemba Walker, Tristan Newton, Caron Butler, Alex Caravan, Emeka Okafor, and 6-man Donovan Clingan. Pat, Point guard, Shabazz Napier. Shooting guard, Ray Allen. Small forward, Rip Hamilton. Power forward, Donyell Marshall. Center, Hashim Tabit. And sixth man, Ben Gordon.
Those are both.
There's your lesson on UConn.
We could make
lore.
a third one. If we had a third person here, we could have made a third one.
We could do a vampire league of somebody only picking from players that haven't been picked yet, and they'd still have a nasty team.
So, like I said though, should UConn women win next week? Even if they don't, we're gonna do a UConn women all-time draft next week because there may be even more candidates.
There probably are. Yeah, I mean, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart.
Best thing, you could go way back.
Maya Moore.
Tina Charles,
Nafisa Collier's dominating now.
Renee Montgomery.
Paige Beckers,
Brianna Stewart, AZ Fudd. There's a lot of...
It's excessive.
Sarah Strong even, I think, is made her stakes her claim.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All right. We are going to get into some NFL news now because there has been some things.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight.
I don't know why it still echoes. It's weird. So the NFL owners meetings kicked off in Arizona this week, and there has been some news that has come from that more than I would have anticipated, I guess. I feel like this time of year just sneaks up on me every single year, and so that's why I'm never fucking prepared for it. But yes, NFL owners meetings are underway. So we're going to go down the list here and just discuss each of these topics. Some of them are like some of them are rumors and news that have kind of come from these meetings. Some of them are straight up changes that the NFL is making for next season. So these are not insignificant things going on here. So starting with, there has been no progress made on talks with the NFL referees. There is a belief that the NFL is likely to hire 150 to 180 officials from D1, D2, and D3 colleges as replacement refs. The NFL also sent a memo to teams not to speak on it to avoid creating further controversy and or leverage for either side in those negotiations. We've already seen this come to play with Mike McCarthy during these owners' meetings. They asked him about it. He basically said fucking nothing about it. So the memo is clearly working.
Shout out Linda J. Davis for the like, by the way.
That's my grandma. So we are heading toward...
At least she knows how to do it. My grandma barely knows how to find us.
My grandma loves Facebook. We are heading toward Replacement Refs Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. We saw plenty of mistakes the last time. We're old enough to remember the last time there were replacement refs with the Fail Mary, and I also looked up other stuff that they fucked up around that time. There was like one guy like threw his hat and like a player slipped on it. Like it was a whole lot going on.
This was... You can talk about how bad these refs are all you want. It's one of those, you don't know what you got until it's gone. Because, yeah, they're bad a lot. They make a lot of mistakes.
But these guys are the best of the best.
There's a reason these guys are NFL referees and not in godforsaken D2 and D3. For God's sake.
Who's ready for two fail, two marry?
Like, that's what I mean. It's just like... There is a reason why the officials want what they want, because they are the best of the best. And, you know, we've seen it in other sports too with these, but after what happened last time, because not only was it bad calls, they just looked so incompetent.
Yeah.
They looked so unconfident. These guys know the NFL rule book in, out, upside down, backwards, sideways. The NFL is by far the hardest one, because baseball rules are more complicated, but baseball, you have a lot more time for everything to develop. Football, things are happening like crazy. You're watching shit all over the place. I think basketball is the hardest, because you're literally making a split-second call, and you're either right or wrong.
Yeah.
But a foul, he either got hit or he didn't.
Yeah.
But football is so many rules, and these guys know them, and while they make a lot of mistakes, I certainly would not call them incompetent.
No.
And the last time the replacement officials were incompetent, maybe this group can prove us wrong, but I believe there should be no reason to get there.
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk about some officiating in baseball towards the end, too.
Shout out CB Buckner.
Poor CB.
So there is one caveat here, one light at the end of the tunnel, a little, I guess not light at the end of the tunnel, but one bright spot of the Replacement Refs Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. The NFL for 1 year is allowing the officiating department in New York to correct clear and obvious mistakes that impact the game. So should something like the Fail Mary happen again this year, that can get corrected. I think this is as as good of a solution as you can get for a situation like this. Obviously, the number one solution would be to not be in this situation. But be honest, I don't know much about what's happening with these negotiations or why it's being held up. I feel like most things get boiled down to the NFL is greedy, so I feel like that's probably it. But at least
to some extent.
True. At least they have this sort of theoretical fail-safe if anything egregious does happen with these replacement refs. But yeah, we are heading toward some potential issues this season with
we've
some
seen
of these refs.
There's a sky judge anyway because of those quick overturn calls like that and things. So it's like, why can't there just be someone watching the game that can throw a flag?
Yeah.
Well, obviously you need guys on the field for certain purposes, but I don't think that having a guy not on the field being able to throw a virtual flag or, pick up a real life flag is such a bad thing. But yeah, this...
There's also a pretty widespread belief that this change is not going to be a one-year thing. That they're saying it's going to be a one-year thing.
But
and this
assuming it works.
Right. I mean, this is something we've been asking for years, that, even with the regular refs, can we please get some sort of system to change shit that is clearly obvious and impacting a game. There's no reason not to when we have 4K Ultra HD cameras catching every angle of everything. And if we can get the call right, let's get the fucking call right. NFL owners have also approved an expansion of behavioral and mental health services. Teams must now have a full-time mental health clinician at their facility. Again, this is one of those added things that have come from the owners' meetings. Just good news, obviously, with the stuff that we've seen around the league, stuff that we've seen tragically with Rondale Moore and situations like that. Good preventative measure
And then
here.
just watching players sort of go off the rails and now seeing some players from other sports also sort of go off the rails. It's especially in a sport like football where you are so susceptible to head injuries. It only makes sense.
No, it's necessary. It's overdue. So I'm glad they are doing something about it. It does seem like, unfortunately, but at least something's coming from it, that the Rondale Moore situation was the catalyst for this. After it happened, AJ Green wrote that whole letter about how there needs to be more facilities, more just tools available to these guys, because it's tough, man. Like, you're an NFL player and you go through something like what Rondale did, like your whole identity is being an NFL player and you just keep getting that taken away from you. Like, that shit's hard, and there needs to be a way to deal with that.
And honestly, just in real life,
R.I.P. Marshawn Kneeland as well.
In real life too, it's just like change is so difficult. So going from maybe a college player, we've seen a lot of these players grow up with nothing. Grow up in these parts where you don't have any money. So to go from that to having so much money, even though that's obviously a very big positive, sometimes it's hard.
I mean,
even good change can be difficult.
More money, more problems is very much a thing. Still.
Good change sometimes too is still difficult to grapple with. So yeah, these guys are still people at the end of the day, and I think that's often forgotten when people are sending death threats to people for ruining people's parlays. It's just like, these guys are people. They have families. They're just like you and me. So this is great.
Great news there. Potentially less good news here, depending how you view it. So Carly Ursay Gordon, Jerry Jones, and Robert Kraft are among the owners who have spoken.
This could also work for Robert Kraft too.
Among the owners who have spoken out in favor of an 18th regular season game. Now, I will say this: I think Kraft is approaching it from the way that we've all said it needs to be approached if they're going to do this, which is he supports it as long as there is a second bye week, one fewer preseason game. That's going to be a given either way. And every team would have at least one international game. I think the second bye week is the key here. Obviously, if you're adding, and we'll talk, there's been more things that have come out about, players not being able to get enough rest and recovery as it is. So second bye week necessary.
I honestly think even if you don't expand this, don't
still
add
just
an
add
extra
a second
game,
bye week. Yeah, I mean, it won't.
Because the thing is, if you're the
hurt.
NFL adding a 19th week, that's just
College has 2 bye weeks and they play 10 games.
That's just another week of games. Advertisement money. You're going to be able to get more money in the TV deals from your partners.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't see why that wouldn't be such a bad idea regardless.
Yeah. So that's where Kraft stands on it. Jerry Jones was quoted as saying, "I think it's a better application of their careers and talent, less preseason, more playing in games that have the right balance of financial reward as well as exposure." So, Jerry, I think, is coming at it from a strictly money perspective, which fucking shocker. Don't love that because, like, if you're strictly looking at it as trading out a preseason game for a regular season game, these guys aren't playing in preseason games anymore. Like, they're just not. So you're all you're doing is adding another week of wear and tear, and yes, another week of paycheck as well, obviously. But that is more of a short-sighted way of looking at it, I think. But adding a second bye week, if they were to do that, I mean, okay.
I think if you're going to go to 19 games, I think this is exactly what you have to do. International game, I couldn't care less, about what they end up doing there. But I think with the bye week and the no preseason game, if you're going to add an 18th game, you've got to give the players something.
I will say this happens. Slow starts are going to be even more prevalent in the NFL than ever before. We're already seeing it. We've been seeing it.
Fantasy's going to be hell if there are 2 bye weeks, man.
Fantasy's going to be hell if there are 2 bye weeks, and fantasy's also just going to be hell for the first month of the season because you're not going to fucking know who's
I
good
think
while teams try to
obviously,
get their feet under them.
I'm not a commissioner. Well, I am a commissioner of one league, but it's like I think if there's an extra bye week, you need an extra bench spot. I think you need you need to add an 8th bench spot if you're going to do that, or potentially another IR spot because we're going to see a lot of guys not be playing on given weeks, but. Yeah, that'd be interesting. And I think on another hand of good news, I think everybody's up for this. The NFL will no longer have multiple. I don't understand why they did this in the first place. The NFL will no longer have multiple Monday night games at the same time. Those games will all be placed elsewhere on the schedule, including potentially Thanksgiving Eve, which I think is a gold mine for a football game. Everyone's out at bars, bars show games. People are just sitting around at home waiting for Thanksgiving. Watch the games.
Wednesdays, I mean, fucking bringing it back.
There's the first game of the season's on a Wednesday this year.
I know, but you're bringing it back to COVID.
Remember that year where there was a game? Wednesday. There was a game on every single day of the week that season. That was amazing.
What a season!
Getting home from work and seeing a game at 3:30 on a Wednesday.
Seeing Kendall Hinton drop back to pass at 3:30 on a Wednesday.
But yeah, what a fever dream. But I'll never understand why they did this in the first place. Like, you are directly competing against yourself. Why ESPN and ABC, the fine folks there, thought that was a good idea is just beyond me. If you want to do a doubleheader and start the first game at 7 and then have a game at 10, fine. Well, and maybe some slight overlap, but you can't start a game at 8:30 and 9. What are we doing?
And it was weird too because they ramped it up this year, and I guess maybe it was because it was like a final test of if they wanted to keep doing this in hindsight. But I remember this used to be a thing week 1. You would always see.
Yeah,
2 Monday
but
night
that was a
games.
doubleheader.
One of them was usually the Chargers, and it started at 10 p.m. Eastern time or whatever it was. But this year, it was every other week up until week 7. There was 2 Monday night games, and I'm like, the football season's short enough as it is. I don't want the games to be that late and also conflicting with each other. I'd rather you either be a part of the red zone window or have your own fucking day and time slot. Doubling up on Monday night was just not.
It was so hard to sweat. 2 games. When you're, you need a fantasy miracle and you're like, oh, there are 2 games that I need to talk about. No. Monday Night Miracles, you want to sit there and sweat out 1 game.
Yeah. So I'm glad that is coming to an end. Not something I thought was even on the radar to come to an end. So I'm glad no more double Monday Night Football games. This one is a downside, and there's been just a lot of NFL scheduling changes. Obviously, we've already talked about 3 of them, or some that are potentially in the works. But this one's not great. The NFL owners have approved a change to the scheduling policy, clarifying that Friday games are no longer considered short weeks.
Crazy.
Previously, teams were limited to 2 short week games per season, meaning usually Thursday games, obviously less rest. That rule does still apply, but now Friday games like Black Friday or Christmas this year, because Christmas is on a Friday, do not count toward that limit. So a team can play 2 Thursday short week games and still be scheduled for a standalone Friday game, or in theory, multiple standalone Friday games. Giving TV partners like Amazon more flexibility, because won't we think of the little guy like Amazon, that they just need all the flexibility and help they can get? We've been in favor. Look, as much as I like having football on any day of the week, because the more football, the better. Absolutely. If I can have NFL football to look forward to during the day, I am a happy, happy boy. But the short weeks are bad for players. They lead to more injuries. There's not enough rest. Doing it once in a while, okay, I guess. But not only does it seem like there is no intention ever to get rid of Thursday Night Football, they are actively making the issue worse by adding these Friday games and saying that How is that not a short week?
It's literally one day less.
Day later. It's still 2 days fewer of rest than you normally get. It's just not 3. Whoop-de-doo. Like, I don't understand the logic. I mean, I understand where it's coming from. It's money and it's greed. But it's very confusing to me that the NFL seems to continue to be blind to, you know, the lack of quality that most Thursday night games are because of either injuries or just players not being at full strength if they are playing. So I don't like this one. You know, again, in theory, the football fan in me loves, more football games on Fridays, more football games on more days of the week. But yeah, just logistically, no, not a good idea. But they're doing it anyway because money.
Money.
Next thing here, we've got the NFL owners have approved a proposal allowing teams to declare an onside kick at any time during the game rather than only when trailing or in the fourth quarter. Still no surprise onside kick as they must declare their intent. I don't know why this wasn't a thing before. This was kind of like when they were changing the onside kick rule.
They're trying to eliminate the onside kick, let's be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think this is actively going to change anything. I mean, who's going to attempt an onside kick in any situation really other than the one that they had already outlined, which was when you were like losing by a certain amount in the fourth quarter.
Unless you're the Colts in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but like that was a surprise one. So it's like, who's going to be like, yeah, we're going to do an announced onside kick in the second quarter of this game. Unless some team figures out some sort of strategy to just be demons at recovering onside kicks. Maybe the Dan Campbell Lions just spend like 2 months of this offseason figuring out how to be the best onside kick recovery team of all time. And then we start to see them just declare it all the time. We'll see some sort of meaningful change. But otherwise, it just seems like a logistical thing of like, yeah, I guess we want to give teams more theoretical freedom, even though who's going to declare a fucking onside kick unless they are losing and it's late in the game. So just more of a clerical change there, I guess. Nothing actually that you're going to notice on Sundays, I wouldn't think. Let's see. NFL owners have approved the Steelers' proposal to make permanent the 2025 rule allowing teams to have one call with up to 5 unrestricted free agents during the legal tampering period. So this happened this past offseason, and it looks like it's going to be a thing going forward. Cool. I mean, sure.
It's the legal tampering period. Why is there even a limit at all?
Yeah.
If it's legal to tamper, then why?
I don't know. Tampering is always going to be dicey because teams are always going to be trying to do more than they're technically allowed to.
Hello, Dolphins.
But, yeah, I guess.
That old video came up on my feed that you made about them the other day when it was just like, you tampered with Tom Brady. Okay. You tampered with Sean Payton. Okay. What's next? That's it. Oh, that's all you found?
Yeah.
I don't know why. Sometimes your year ago things pop up on my YouTube Shorts feed is where I see them.
Probably a fake account stealing my fucking video.
No,
I'm
it's
watching
you.
Oh,
it's you.
Oh, wow.
It's actually you for whatever reason. They come up in my
algorithm bugging out. Someone in the comments said nothing burger rule change. Yeah, that
seriously.
One, some of them certainly are. But I think that for the most part covers the
rules.
Rule changes.
Well, Browns withdraw proposal to allow draft pick trading up to 5 years.
Yeah, they withdrew
I like this because the NBA is fucking crazy.
Well, they withdrew it because nobody was supporting it, which is not surprising. And yeah, I think we talked about the repercussions of this on a prior show. If not, I talked about it in my own head and on Twitter. But it's not a good idea to have in the NFL. You look at a team like the Browns being the ones to propose this as well. The reason it's not a good idea is you can mortgage way too much of your future if you have a regime in place that is on the hot seat, say Andrew Barrett, probably with the Browns.
Sure.
And that guy wants to go out guns a-blazing and says, hey, 5 first-round picks, Justin Jefferson, get over here. Let's try to save this. Let's try to save this sinking ship with Justin Jefferson. And make that trade, inevitably go 4-13. Inevitably, you go 4-13, but you've got Justin Jefferson. Barry gets fired. You're looking for a new GM. That new GM comes in and says, where are all the first-rounders at? You're fucked. So
average day of the Rams GM.
Except they win. You need to prevent against that kind of thing in the NFL. It's just draft picks are so different in the NFL as opposed to the NBA, I feel like. And as much as it would
because
be,
there's so many more picks. I was
NBA,
2 rounds of picks.
as much as it would be fun to facilitate, in theory, more and bigger trades in the NFL, and you could see it be more like what the NBA trade deadline is, and I think that's where some of the support was coming from as well. Just the entertainment value of it.
Awesome.
It would be detrimental to these teams that simply can't be trusted to have 5 first-round picks at their disposal.
I agree.
To trade
The
away.
NBA, even if like a team gets in a rut, it's way more fluid.
Yeah.
It's way easier to tank and come out and rebuild as opposed to the NFL. So yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, but that kind of just starts our Browns mini
Yeah,
segment
the
here.
biggest news of the week here.
Because there's some funny stuff with the Browns. 2 very funny things with the Browns. First thing, every year at this coaches and owners meeting, the coaches take a picture together. Every coach, some coaches aren't in it, whatever, once in a while. But Todd Monken wanted to be in it. Todd Monken missed the coach's picture because Todd Monken was getting his haircut for the coach's picture.
See, Robert Saleh didn't need to get his haircut, did he?
That's true. Todd
Bald
Monken,
privilege.
Todd Monken reportedly thought he had timed it up correctly, that he could get his haircut right before the meeting. Well, right before the picture. They took the picture early, and Todd Monken got out of his haircut all dressed up and nowhere to go. Poor Todd Monken. This also may be Todd Monken's only chance to be part of the head
Andy
coach's
Reid
picture.
wider in the picture now, in his fucking Hawaiian shirt.
Photoshop
Photoshopped
stretch.
wide dog.
This may be his only chance to be part of a head coach's picture too, because
maybe.
Todd Monken may get fucking
And he's
fired.
60-something years old, so he's not going to get another shot after
100
this.
years old. So if anything were to happen to be more Brownsy, I don't know what it would be, except for maybe this, coming from owner Jimmy Haslam, who was quoted as saying he thinks Deshaun Watson can win the Browns a Super Bowl. Now, that in itself, okay, like, you want to be optimistic about your guy, right? It's more about what he compared it to. So Jimmy Haslam said, there are a lot of quarterbacks who, it seems to kind of be the theme in the NFL, either started or did not start well and then take their team to a Super Bowl. And what a great story that is for Sam Darnold. Deshaun started great, and the year before we signed him, he was rated the second best quarterback in the NFL. And then the suspension and the injuries and all that piled up. Can he come back from that? He certainly had the ability at one point in time, and we're cautiously optimistic, but we'll see.
Great story! This guy's a fucking rapist! Great story! A great story here is if he was fucking euthanized. Win a Super Bowl. This man shouldn't even be your quarterback, but you fucked yourself so hard because you're like, oh man, Grover Cleveland, it fits perfect. This is what we need. What the? Again, you have to be optimistic to some extent. What the fuck are you talking about?
The fact, I just find it amusing that he is drawing any sort of parallel to Sam Darnold. Not even remotely comparable situations.
One, Deshaun was much better as a young player.
Deshaun started
and
good.
threw away his career.
Deshaun started good, did heinous shit, got horrible injuries, and now sucks. Sam Darnold started bad because he was with terrible organizations, ended up with good enough organizations to get enough out of him to win a Super Bowl. I'm still not going to call Darnold this great quarterback, but he turned out much better than what we thought he would. To draw any sort of parallel of just, well, things at one point were rough for both of them, so maybe it won't be rough, and maybe we could get to his
Why was
brother.
it rough, Jimmy? Why was it rough? I keep looking at the computer screen and not the camera. Why was it rough, Jimmy? Why was it rough? Alex brings up, do we have the Aaron Glenn quote in here either? That Geno Smith can lead them to the promised land?
If the promised land
is the promised land still Israel? Like, where do you expect to go?
If the promised land is the number 1 overall draft
it's Arch Manning.
Geno Smith
Arch Manning
is
the promised
absolutely
land.
capable of leading them to that.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, just you want to talk positively about your quarterback. First of all, Deshaun Watson shouldn't be your quarterback. You've been in here for 3 years. You've been doing this for 4 years. I think Deshaun Watson's been a Brown. God, it's been forever.
And the thing is, think about it. They have those draft picks and not him. That defense has been so good. Yeah. The line has been good the last few years. It's just incompetence at the quarterback position, and obviously that's not going to do anything. Had they not made that move, who knows? Who knows what they could have done?
Yeah, it's just
And he's a piece of shit, so it's fun.
He's a piece of shit, and then you have a delusional owner trying to defend the piece of shit. It's just Browns fucking doing Browns things, man. No matter what the Jets ever do,
they're making
the
a
Browns
stinky
are always
brown in their pants.
worse. Couple other notes from, just coaches saying stuff. Kyle Shanahan on trading Brandon Ayuk. We're in no rush to do that. Hopefully we get something for it. Brother, shit or get off the pot. How many times have we come on this show and
How
said,
many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
How many times have we come on this show and said, I'm tired of talking about Brandon Ayuk. Trade or release the fucking guy already. Yeah, I don't know. Brandon Ayuk just exists in the ether and is never gonna play football again or something. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say.
Go somewhere. Do something.
It depends.
Please.
Is he genuinely off his rocker, or is he just trying to get out of San Francisco? Because if he's just trying to get out of San Francisco, they might get something for him because, before the injury, he was playing quite well.
I think he's just holding out for probably a draft pick. He's hoping he can get a 6th rounder for him on draft night or something, and that'll be that. But yeah, just the fact that it's like I've kind of grouped Brandon Ayuk in my head with like all these other available free agents of like, I'm at least passively curious where they end up. Like who's gonna sign Tyreek Hill? Who's gonna sign Kirk Cousins? Who's gonna sign Brandon Ayuk? And then Brandon Ayuk just continues to not technically be a free agent or alive. Howie Roseman on A.J. Brown. My answer to any question on A.J. Brown is A.J. Brown is a member of the Eagles. From my perspective, anything you ask me about A.J. Brown, I'll go right back to that answer. Couple this with Mike Vrabel completely not turning down the idea of trading for A.J. Brown.
He seemed very open to it.
Guys, A.J. Brown's a Patriot. It's a matter of time. Check your calendar. Go to June 1st, 12:01 a.m. if your calendar has a clock on it for some reason, and write down the moment A.J. Brown becomes a Patriot because it's happening.
Raider.
You keep Jalen Naylor and shut up.
Naylor, I barely know her.
Jalen Naylor.
Surprised I haven't said that yet.
Jalen Naylor is plenty. You don't need anything else. You don't need A.J. Brown. So that's that. Sean McVay confirmed that the Rams had trade discussions involving Davante Adams. We heard those rumors. And that they kept him in the loop during all of it. Speculation is that they were going after A.J. Brown, but that ship has sailed. So it seems like they're going to keep Davante Adams. Rams are one proactive fucking organization, aren't they? Yeah. I mean, Davante Adams comes in and does nothing except become a guaranteed touchdown every time they're on the 1 yard line. And then they're like, you know what we should do? Trade him and get a different receiver in here. This team is never satisfied, and it's why they're great, but it's fucking hilarious. They just don't ever just let it go.
I'm mainly laughing at Alex because he said, my computer has a clock on it. It's a really cool device called an iPhone. In your calendar, you can schedule things at a certain time.
Throw back to like in elementary school when teachers were like, "You won't have a calculator in your pocket. You can't just use a calculator all the time." iPhones, man. Incredible technology. Shout out Steve Jobs, you dirty bitch.
Shout out for not getting cancer treatment and dying.
And then the last thing here, the Jaguars.
Duval. Not going to be in Duval.
Will not be in Duval. They will be playing the 2027 season in Orlando under a 1-year agreement with Florida Citrus Sports, hosting their home games at Camping World Stadium because the Jags Stadium, are they getting a new one or is it being renovated?
I think they're getting a new one.
Hold on.
But Camping World Stadium, they play pretty big bowl games there. That's where Central Florida plays, right? So it's a fair stadium to go to as an alternative here. I'm surprised they're not in London, for fuck's sake.
Let me see. I'm sure somebody in the chat and we're listening already knows this answer. Jag Stadium renovation. $1.4 billion Stadium of the Future renovation for the Jags. Okay, so
T is correct.
Again, I mentioned this on the show before. Thank goodness they're doing that because the Jag Stadium is the grossest NFL stadium I've been to. It feels like UConn football's stadium. It's just a big cereal bowl.
I've only been to 2 NFL stadiums, and one of them was not even for a football game. It was for an AC/DC concert.
I've been to like 17 at this point.
7? Holy fuck!
A lot of them have been for WrestleMania.
I've been to Allegiant Stadium and Foxborough, or whatever they call it.
17.
Gillette. I went to Gillette for an AC/DC concert.
17 might be overselling. Hold on, we've got some time here. Let me take a look. I'm just gonna go to the teams and
breaking news into brand coverage. By the way, I think I'm gonna shit in Brand's toilet after this.
Okay, Patriots.
Not April Fools.
Patriots, yes. Dolphins, yes. So 1, 2. 17 is gonna be way too many because I haven't been to any of the AFC North. Jaguars, yes. Texans, yes. It's 4. Colts, yes, but not for football. 5. Titans, no. Broncos, yes.
That's right.
Raiders, yes. You got count here.
I'm at 7.
7. Eagles, yes. Cowboys, yes. Commanders, no. Oh, I forgot the Jets and Giants. Yes, I've been to that stadium.
So that's 11.
Bears, no.
Oh, that's 10. That's the same stadium. Jackass.
Bears, Packers, Vikings, no. Lions, yes. Bucks, yes. Falcons, yes. Saints, yes.
Oh, wow. You're going to come close.
Rams, yes. Niners, yes. That's
it's
it.
16.
16.
So you
Okay,
just
so
about had it.
I'm over. I guess I'm over half the stadium technically because
there's
Jets and
two
Giants
teams share
one,
and the
or over
Rams
half
and the
under
Rams
half.
and Chargers.
I guess I'm. Oh yeah, no. I'm
So
over
there's
half.
only 30
yeah,
stadiums.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Damn, I'm cooking. Cooking.
Like I said, I have been to 2, and only one of them was for an actual NFL game.
A lot of
Raiders.
those were for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like 6 of them wouldn't be checked off if it wasn't.
I'm
for
not.
WrestleMania.
I would much rather go to an MLB or an NBA game than an NFL game.
That's fair. So yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much does it, guys. We didn't get a ton of questions during the show, so if you guys want to drop some questions now, they don't have to be donation questions. We will answer them before we head off the air here because that'll about do it. We are, again, at that time of year where we basically yap about UConn and then yap about various NFL things that have happened. I think we talked about the 2 dono questions already. Okay, so UConn lost me a $1,400 parlay. And then Alex, fuck, marry, kill, replacement refs, Angel Hernandez, and CB Buckner.
So... See, I think Angel is so defensive that he's overcompensating.
So you don't want to
I
fuck
think
him?
CB's just slanging that thing. So I'm going to fuck CB.
Okay.
I'm going to marry Angel Hernandez because he's going to successfully sue someone at some point. And then I will kill the replacement refs.
Yeah, I don't think I want to fuck the replacement refs because that would just be a big orgy, and I don't like that. I'm also not into polyamory, so marrying them would be tough too. You know, it's too many old white men that we're getting oiled up with in that scenario. So I'm gonna say no to that. Yeah, I guess I'm on board with you. I guess we're.
I guess now's the time we can mention CB Buckner. Jesus Christ,
brother.
I feel like there are certain umpires that get targeted for one reason or another, but
target him with a missile.
CB has never been a good umpire. There's a reason that he's 60 years old and has never been a crew chief. He only recently got promoted to a 2, because if you don't know, in crews there are assigned numbers for umpires. There's the crew chiefs, there's 2s, there's 3s, there's 4. CB was a 3 until he's about 55 years old. So and there's a reason for that, and he's very bad. He's very bad behind the plate. And then just a bizarre play last night where he ruled that Jake Bowers did not touch first base. You know, I've been umpiring baseball for 15 years now, close to it. Yeah. That is what we call a call that you do not look for. That is called like, you're never like standing there like and saying like, this guy's going to miss the base. If you see it and it's blatant, it happens. But not only was that not blatant, it was just wrong.
I've never seen a man's foot touch more of a base than Jake Bauer's foot touched that. He was smack dab in the middle of that bitch.
Well, you know, there was a play in Little League many years ago where it was like a big playoff game, and our friend and commissioner Andy was on the bases, and the kid missed the base, third base, and Andy banged him out to end the game. And you know, the coach was like this, and I was at behind second, and I said, I saw it clear as day. Like, you know, you've really got to see something like that. You know, he's got to miss the base by a foot to not do that. That is something you do not look for.
It's like, how do you possibly make that call when it just doesn't?
And then replay showed he wasn't really looking.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I just don't understand the thought process, the neurons that had to fire in succession in his brain to be like, I am going to make a call that A, basically never gets called in a game, and B, when I didn't see it. Like, I wasn't looking at it. Was he on drugs? Like, was he high? Was he hallucinating? Like, I don't understand what leads you to that result.
I will say that, honestly, this ABS, it was funny. I said to my dad, too, I'm like, who's the first guy that's just going to rail an umpire for being wrong and getting overturned? Of course, it was Aaron Boone. Because there were other ejections, but that was more so because of awarding challenges, not necessarily towards the umpire. But, I don't... This is going to weed out some of the bad umpires.
He's being targeted for not watching the games he's
is
umpiring.
This is really going to weed out some of the bad older umpires. Because, again, you look at the numbers. Most of them, the old guard, are terrible. Most of the old guard are terrible.
Alex makes a good point. This is why we know Jim Joyce was a good umpire. We heard his name exactly one time. Sadly, a catastrophic time. That's a good point.
I watched. Oh fuck! I forgot what YouTube account it was. I like him. He's a Giants
Benchwarmer brand.
Hum Baby Baseball, and he did a video on the worst umpires. And I literally commented like, "Thank you for not mentioning Jim Joyce," because Jim Joyce was far from one of the worst umpires ever. Far from it. He made one terrible call and owned it like no one has ever owned anything in their life. So, shout out. And he saved a Diamondbacks worker's life. They had a heart attack, and he provided CPR. So, shout out Jim Joyce.
Skill Zone said thoughts on the Jaden Ivey situation. Pat, I talked about it before the show went on air. I tweeted about it last night.
Yeah, he got some.
I tweeted about it last night.
I read the comments
and then muted it and went to bed. That is the Strat's not patched on that one either. Yeah, look, don't be hateful. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what anything you are. Don't be hateful. Don't hate gay people and think they shouldn't exist and don't have a right to exist, and we'll be good. And so, unfortunately, Travion Henderson has also fallen on the other side of that. He's kind of on my semi shit list until he becomes a little bit more tolerant. But again, it's not a religious thing. It's just
did Jaden Ivey do something as egregious as we've seen? No, what did he say? They were not unrighteous, I believe was exactly what he said.
He also just doesn't know how to speak.
Well, apparently he's been giving sermons.
Well, he was like, the NBA proclaims LGBT. That's not what the word proclaim means, Jaden. And so if you can't even put together a sentence the correct way to make your point, you probably don't have a point. That's where I'm coming from.
The way I see it is, I was raised Catholic. I'm a confirmed Catholic. I've got no problem about religious people. Believing in something is great. Having something to believe in. Don't discriminate against other people is the way I see it.
Just be a good person.
It's
man.
like,
it's not that hard. It's not that hard.
I don't give a shit what anybody else is doing in their sexuality. And people say like, "Oh, you hate Christians, unfollow." And it's like, you hate gay people.
Right.
Like you're disguising it under the veil of Christianity, but you're doing the same thing. But I don't think Jaden Ivey's career's over whatsoever. I mean, I don't think he was going to end up in Chicago anyway because he fell out of the rotation and got hurt. So I don't think he was going to be around. Yeah. But
my tweet was Travion Henderson supporting Jaden Ivey. That's a shame. It's fuck Hendo around these parts until further notice. Then I replied to that and said, like almost immediately after, and said, this isn't a religion issue, by the way. I don't care what religion he or anyone else is. You do you, genuinely. What I do care about is inclusion. Not going to tolerate any anti-gay bullshit. And so anybody replying that I hate Christians after that, you're reading.
So what, you hate pancakes?
Your reading comprehension might need work. This is also the only time we're ever going to talk about anything religious related on this show, and it's barely even adjacent because it's more just about don't be a dick. I think I am a dick professionally in a satirical sense, but don't be an actual dick in real life. That's the end of that.
I'm a dick, but not in that way.
I love dick. Why? That's not the sound I thought you were going to make in response to that. Why is your Lord and Savior Bucky Irving not on the stream banner? That's a good point.
He would have been a good candidate.
He'd be a good fit. Maybe throw him up there if Cam Scadaboo doesn't come back from the dead this year.
Yeah, I feel like the rest of those guys got to be
They got to be up there. Bran, thoughts on the build to WrestleMania? It's been lackluster, but it should be a good Mania. And Pat, thoughts on NASCAR and baseball? I love this guy. This guy just wants to get into our heads of our special interests.
You go ahead. Ask you first.
Thoughts on the build to WrestleMania? Yeah, it's in the weeks prior, I think there's definitely an element of it doesn't really feel as big as a lot of the WrestleManias have. But I think the card's coming together really well. I think the matches are going to be fantastic. And I think it's going to over-deliver because you look at the guys who are in those big spots and they're going to put on a good show. They're going to put on a good match. I understand the criticism of I think people are really hoping to get the feeling back that they had when it was like Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes after Roman held the title for 5 years. And it's just, there's a level of emotionality to that and build up that you just can't have every year. It's just not possible. And so I'm coming around on it. on WrestleMania as a whole, I still think the shows leading up to it have been kind of mid. Like Raw and SmackDown have not felt like can't miss shows. And we're only 3 weeks out from Mania, 2.5 weeks out now, and that shouldn't be the case. But it's going to be a good Mania, so I'm still excited for it. I think the main events, Psycho Randy Orton being back is awesome. Javon Evans being in a ladder match is fucking awesome. Roman Punk is going to be, although the build to that has been kind of samey every week, I'm still just curious how that match is going to play out because it's going to shape what WWE is going to look like for the next year after it. And I don't know who's going to win. So I'm still excited. I think it's going to be a good show. But Pat, NASCAR, baseball, trains,
well, I guess we
whatever
already talked about baseball to an extent. My favorite storyline has been Munetaka Murakami on the White Sox, who just fucking mashes.
Both the Japanese guys. Okamoto's been great too.
Because Murakami was more of the concern where it was like he's basically going to be Joey Gallo. He can't hit any pitches faster than 95 miles an hour. And the guy's just like, ha 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 ha, I hit home runs and walks. He's literally Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
So that's been a fun one to watch. Yankees look good.
Yeah.
Did they win last night?
No, I believe they lost 2-1 last night.
Well, that was Monday. Did they lose again 2-1?
Hold on. What did they? Oh no, I think they won last night. I think I was thinking of the other night. You're right. I think they won 5-0. They won 5-0.
I go to sleep all
the Mariners series is tough. I am getting back into baseball and watching more this year, but this Mariners, first pitch 9:40 p.m. situation. Is
I'm
rough.
still my sleep my prime sleeping time these days is like noon to 3 p.m. And so it's but then I fall asleep at 8 o'clock at the same
time. Max Fried is a demon. Jesus. 7 innings, 0 earned again.
The Yankees bullpen has been unbelievable with just a bunch of jamokes. Not jamokes, but
Oh, wait, this is on the Mariners. Okay, I was like, who is Cole Wilcox? It flipped to the Yankees for a second.
But and NASCAR has been pretty good so far. Tyler Reddick and Michael Jordan. That's been a big story for NASCAR is that Michael Jordan's team, I keep looking at the wrong thing. The camera. Michael Jordan team is doing quite well. That is great. Some of the races have been a little boring, but that's what the fans want is old school NASCAR. It seems like they're going to add more horsepower to the cars, which is going to be awesome because that's what we've been asking for forever. And I'm seeing another question here. If I don't know who said it. Being held accountable. I guess he's holding me. He or she, could be she, is holding me accountable. Pat, why did you stop being a Giants fan? It was right after they lost the Super Bowl. And I thought that I'm losing my train of thought.
You thought the Giants were doo-doo.
Well, no, I was really into fantasy and I just didn't care. I'm like, I just kind of want to go and watch football and have no biases and I did for a few years, but then in my latter part of high school, I started moving into it, the Raiders a little more. And I've never been as much of a Raiders fan as I was I was a huge Giants fan. Now I'm just kind of a Raiders fan. Pat, why thought look fatter than before? Are you saying that I'm fatter than before? Because you are correct. Because if those of you who playing along at home...
Disrespect.
Those of you playing along at home didn't know, I've been dealing with a chronic injury for about 2 years. And I was kind of on my ass and just ate a lot of food. So we're going to have to work on that.
Pat had a crippling back injury and got surgery for it, and it was so bad he couldn't stand for very long. And you are making comments about moderate weight gain due to those factors.
Trust me, brother. I notice, and my mother notices. She lets me know.
I hope you die, respectfully.
Well, maybe that's not what they meant. But I'm going
to take it to me that be what
even
my no profile picture means it's generally pretty uneducated.
Even my grandma last night, she was like, I thought you were trying to lose weight. I'm like, I can't wait till I'm in charge of pulling the plug. And my mom's like, no, you won't. I'm like, you're right. I'll be dead first. But got to go back on that ice chip diet. T is so right. That ice chip diet had me skinny as shit, man.
What are your thoughts on the Bears situation? You think they're going to leave Illinois?
Gary, Indiana, the Gary Grizzlies, baby.
I mean, it sounds like they're going. It wouldn't, again, we talked about this when it first broke. It wouldn't be unprecedented for a team to play just outside of their actual city. It's like 30 minutes from Chicago.
I also read that as, what are your gay thoughts on the Bears situation? which I have
Caleb
plenty.
Williams. Yeah.
Seriously. They've acquired Jared McCain. Also, what's your honest opinion about the Dolphins trading for Tyreek Hill?
Dolphins trading Tyreek Hill?
Or assuming
He's a free agent, so that'd be tough.
Well, you know
if
what
you
I
just
mean.
mean moving on from him, I mean...
I guess getting Tyreek Hill. Well, the Dolphins... Oh, did that say not... I read that as Broncos.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, you recall the Dolphins were the team Tyreek Hill played for.
I literally read that as Broncos and thought about...
You got the Jalen Waddle
if
trade all fucked up
No, I
in
thought
your
about,
head?
the Broncos signing Tyreek Hill. Fuck.
Broncos country, let's ride.
I have lost the plot at 11:29 a.m. Eastern time.
You like that?
But yeah,
Night the Might, not you. It's not all no profile. It's not all no profile pictures, but all people who are dumb have no profile.
We know
picture.
you, Night the
Not
Might.
all people that don't have a profile picture are dumb, but all people who are dumb don't
What's
have a profile
your honest
picture.
opinion on the draft, and who is your top 5? Honestly, I need to lock in because I've been locked in on a lot of other stuff. And
Yeah, I gotta do my. I mean, look, I know what names are going toward the top of the draft.
Yeah.
But I do not know as far as being able to differentiate myself from any other draft analyst.
Yeah, we still have 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, it's April 24th. It starts. I think.
So we still got a few weeks until we do our annual very incorrect mock draft.
No, it's perfect. April 23rd. So we've got basically 3 weeks.
So we got time to lock in.
But I mean, look, Mendoza's going number 1. He should go number 1 unless they take Ty Simpson. No, he's going number 1.
He should.
Love Jeremiah Love. Think he might be the best just overall player. Just positional value is important. So he probably won't go second
That's
or first.
the thing, though, is that I don't know much outside of the skill guys for fantasy because I'm
Yeah.
so tapped into fantasy. But it seems like there are a lot of good defenders up there.
Yeah, you got your Arvell Reeses, you got your Reuben Baines, you got your fucking David Baileys from Texas Tech. So there's names. I just got to figure out where I think they're actually gonna fucking go because truthfully, I have no idea. If you could change one NFL rule, what would it be? I could change one NFL rule.
Oh, wow.
What would it be? If you commit a penalty against my favorite team, you get executed.
Okay.
Guillotine.
I have no idea, honestly. Oh, there goes my phone.
I'm trying to think what's the most outrageous NFL. What pisses us off on a week to week basis.
That's what I'm trying to
in
think.
the NFL?
I don't know if it's anything that has to do with the rules.
How about we just actually use the sensor in the ball to tell where the ball is supposed to be? All the time?
I can fuck with
Because
that.
I feel like they're half-assing that sort of technology and they don't want to actually fully use it. Wait. There's something. I had something in my head. Nah. When Patrick Mahomes fake flops, he has to be executed because he's going to do it again. All right. I think that'll about do it for this episode of Brand Coverage, guys. Thank you for tuning in once again. Wish our Huskies the best of luck as we fight the good fight against the Illinois Fighting Illini. They will not fight as good as we do. We are going to take them down, and then we are going to take down either the Arizona Wildcats or the Michigan Wolverines. I think Wolverines are closer to cats than they are to dogs, and dogs are better, so they have whiskers and stuff.
Wolverines are straight up dogs.
Are they?
It's a wolf.
I thought they're Wolverines. Wolverines look like angry
Yeah, but
bear
I mean,
cats.
they're
don't they?
wolves, though.
Yeah, well, okay. Either way, Huskies are